Hey guys, this is a short video on factoring. So we are going to factor. So factoring in standard form, and again, standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. So let's start with what is factoring? Okay, so let me give you a good example. So let's just say, okay, I say, so I guess we'll call this example 1. And I tell you multiply x plus 2 times x plus 3. Okay, so if we were to do this, okay, well, I can do this using distributive property, right? So if I were to go ahead and do this, okay, x times x, and I want a different color here, okay, x times x will give me x squared. And again, guys, x times x is x squared. And if I do x times 3, that'll give me plus 3x. Again, x times 3 is 3x. If I do 2 times x, that'll give me 2x, and then 2 times 3, that'll give me 6. Okay, so now what we have to do now is combine the like terms, right? So my like terms are these two. 3x plus 2x gives me 5x plus 6. So notice here that I think what the book is trying to get here too as well is we have two polynomials. Okay, this is a polynomial and that's a polynomial. But more specifically, we call those polynomials binomials, right? So we have binomials, right, being multiplied together, and they are going to give me another polynomial. Again, these are polynomials, right? But more specifically, when I multiply them together, okay, I get a trinomial. And again, it's a trinomial because we have 1, 2, 3 terms, hence the word 3. Binomial because we have 1, 2 terms on each one. Okay, so again, polynomial. When we multiply polynomials times polynomials, we should get polynomials, which we do, but more specifically, we're trying to multiply binomials and we get trinomials. So when we multiply, we learned this thing called the distributive property, right? That was back in the good old days, right? Back in middle school, hopefully. So now, factoring is going the opposite way. Okay, so let me see if I could do this more of like this kind of color. So going from this, let's see, going from this to this, okay, that was called multiplying. Okay, multiplying. Well, factoring will be going from that to that. Okay, so and essentially we're going backwards. Okay, backwards. So let me give you a good example. So if I were to go ahead and give you example 2. So let me go ahead and do. So if I were to go ahead and give you x squared plus 5x plus 6. Okay, and that's just what we have right here. Okay, if I were to go ahead and give you that, we would try to get this over here. Okay, so we're going to do x times x. This is normally what we always do. And then we say, okay, let's go ahead and we're going to think about we're going to think of two numbers that when we multiply them together, they give us 6. Well, I know that's 2 times 3. Okay, and then x times x gives me, right, gives me my x squared, right? And then, so when we do this, right, I want these positives, right? But here's how you check, okay? This is called, I call this the rainbow method, okay? And that's why, because it looks sort of like an upside down rainbow. So if you were to have clouds with a rainbow, right upside down, so this is your rainbow, right? So I call this the rainbow method. But anyways, this is why it's useful, right? Because 2 times x will give you 2x. X times 3 will give you 3x. When you add them up, you get 5x. And guys, that is your middle term. So, again, that is called factoring. When you go from a trinomial to a binomial, okay? So that's what we call factoring right there. So let's give you another example. So I'm at 5 minutes right now. So example 3, okay? So let's just say I give you, let's say I want to give you, let me say I'll give you x squared minus 11x plus 18. Okay, so again, this is a trinomial when I want to get a binomial. So the first thing we do is we got to do, okay, well, x times x, right? And then let me see if I can do it another color to kind of show you what's going on here. Okay, x times x will give me x squared, right? And a little side note, x times x will give me x squared, right? So that checks. And then I do, okay, what two numbers multiplied together give me 18? Okay, and this is where you kind of have to think about this for a second. But I think, 9 times 2, right? This is the first time I'm doing this, okay, well, I think 9, right? Positive 9 times positive 2 will give me 18. So let's check it, right? So I'm going to say, okay, 9 times 2 gives me 18, right? So if I go ahead and I check it with my my famous, right, rainbow method, right? So 9 times x will give me 9x, and then 2 times x gives me 2x. Well, wait a minute, guys. When I add these two together, I get 11x. Is that my middle term? No, right? This gives me a positive 11x. This gives me a negative 11x. So that does not work, meaning I have to go ahead and try to get another two numbers that multiply together to give me 18. So I happen to just practice. You're right. These examples are also in your book as well, guys. So I happen to think it would be x minus 9 times x minus 2. Why? Okay. Well, let's double check this, right? Well, negative. So again, x times x will give me x squared. So those two check. X times x gives me x squared here. Okay. And then, right, if I were to go ahead and I were to get, do put one out, right? Negative 9 times negative 2, that gives me 18 as well, right? So these two numbers give me 18. That works. Okay, well, let's go ahead and check with our rainbow method. Negative 9 times x gives me negative 9x, right? Negative 2 times x gives me negative 2x, right? And if I were to go ahead and add these two together, right, or combine like terms, right, we go ahead and we get negative 11x. Well, is negative 11x what I wanted here, right? Yes, it is, right? So that works. So let me go ahead and do this with, our factored form is x minus 9, x minus 2, okay? And again, you can check this as well. I think the book goes ahead and tells you how to check, right? So if you were to do x minus 9, x minus 2, right, this is your answer, okay? That's what you're going to have to do in your homework. X times x gives you x squared. X times negative 2 gives you negative 2x. Negative 9 times x gives you negative 9x. Negative 9 times negative 2 gives you positive 18. Combine your like terms, you get x squared minus 11x plus 18. And do you get which is this? X squared minus 11x plus 18? Yes, we do, right? So that's why it works. Okay, so that was example, this was example 3. Okay, let's go ahead and try another one. So let's do example 4. So I'm at 9 minutes here. Let's just say I give you, for instance, let's see, one with like lots of variables, or two variables, I guess I could say. So let's just say I give you x squared plus 6xy plus 8y squared. Okay, so you do the same thing. So again, sort of like little work or whatever, right? Thinking, whatever you want to call it. All right. So again, you got to go ahead and label your parentheses, right? So x times x will give you x squared. Okay, that works. X times x gives you x squared. Then you're going to try, okay, let me try another thing. All right, let me say, what two numbers multiply together here that will give you 8? Well, or sorry, what two variables? Let's start with variables, okay? Because I want to think about this y here for a second, right? So first of all, y times y will give me y squared, right? That's what I want to know, right? That works. Now I'm going to think about the numbers, right? So I'm going to say, okay, what two numbers gives me 8? Well, 4 times 2. Those are the first two numbers I think about, right? So 4 times 2 gives me 8, right? So 4 times 2 gives me 8. Okay, so that works. Now, if I were to go ahead and I were to check with my rainbow method, let's see if it works. Okay, so I want those two positive because I said they were positive over here. All right, so if I were to go ahead and do multiply those, right, 4y times x will give me 4xy. Doesn't matter. You could say literally x, y. Don't matter as long as you have an x and a y. And then these over here will give me 2y times x will give me 2xy. Well, when I add them up together, that gives me 6xy, and voila, right? I have 6xy right there. So that works. Okay, let me give you another example. So again, so the factored form is x plus 4y times x plus 2y. Okay, that's, oh, sorry guys. What happened? Plus x times 2y. Oh, come on. Right? So that is your factored form. Okay, so that's example 4 right there. Let me give you I think I can manage another example here real quick. Example 5. So let me see. Let me give you x squared plus 2x y minus 15y squared. Okay. So for this one, let's try, right? X times x gives me, right, x times x gives me x squared. That works. Okay. Let's go ahead and try what two numbers multiplied together to give me 15. Okay, well, the first two numbers that you can do 15 times 1. You can do, you can try other numbers, right? But I think it will be 3 times 5, right? Okay, so again, 3 times 5 will give me 15. And let me actually do that in a different color, okay? 3 times 5 will give me 15. But I want negative 15, right? So I'm going to make one of them negative, sorry. Right, so that means that'll give me negative, right? And that gives me negative 15 there. Okay, let's go ahead and try another numbers for the variables. Okay, so now y times y will give me, right? Y times y will give me y squared. Well, good, because I have y squared here, right? So then that works. If I were to go ahead now and do, so I want this positive here, right? So if I were to go ahead and check it with my rainbow method, right? This would give me negative 3xy, and this would give me 5xy. Well, guys, combine the line terms here. 5xy take away, so 5xy take away 3xy, that will give you a total of 2xy, and that checks it because that's your middle term. Okay.